a number you can't seem to get past in finances? Financing is the easiest one. If you change who you are, you make more money, period. It's inevitable. It's true. I was a hot mess. I changed who I was, I made more money. All right? Health. What was your ceiling? What is that weight? Because here's the thing, when you get fine, when you get real fine, when you get to that resistance level, when nobody can tell you nothing, that's still not your goal with it. It's just I'm at least not disgusted with myself weight. It's never the goal weight though. That's above the resistance line. That's the number we don't even tell nobody. Because they'll be like, girl, you going back to high school? It is, okay? In your mind. You never quite get there because you can't get past the resistance level. So what is your ceiling in health? What's the number you want to get to? You don't need to tell nobody because they might laugh at you. They might say you too far gone. And then relationships. For those of us that are married, what is the ceiling? We keep spinning around, ended up in the same spot, arguing about the same thing. 5, 10, 15, 20 years, we having the same argument. What is the ceiling? What is the resistance level in your marriage? For my single ladies, wondering where's the inventory sheet heavy? Where they at though? What is your resistance level? Spiritual life. For those of us that I don't know what I'm doing wrong, I just feel so disconnected. I don't feel like I have that in-depth relationship with God. What does that resistance level look like? So what is your ceiling? I want you to understand that. So I don't know if everybody knows. So Reva Nation, can I tell them real quick my story, how I got in entrepreneurship? Maybe not everybody knows. So I want to tell you really quick my support and resistance level. So over 10 years ago, I was working a 9 to 5, and overtime was my financial plan. If I got any pinch, pipple, if tires need to be done, if the bills were looking a little higher than normal, I would work overtime, and then that money would come in and take care of the things we need to take care of in the home. That worked real nice and fine and dandy until they made me salary. And salary sounded so cool, y'all. They gave me a name. I don't think I still can remember how fancy it was. And they gave me that salary and it was less than my overtime. And so what happened is days turned into weeks and weeks into months. We had a new home and it just wasn't enough to pay the bills. And it wasn't long that we had to file bankruptcy because we didn't want to lose our home. It was at my lowest point. I felt like a complete failure. I felt like I had let my entire family down. My husband was going to CEO school. He's becoming a truck driver. And I was supposed to hold things down, honey, and I wasn't holding. And I just remember feeling like I should be better at this by now. No matter what I could say about the job and how it was his fault, it was my own fault because I created bills around money that was not guaranteed. It was my own fault. And I was going to work one day to go make not enough. And I looked at this empty room because we had so many empty rooms at our house because we couldn't afford to furnish it all. And I said, I'm going to make that room an office and I'm going to start a business. And this will never happen to me again. And I didn't know what business I was gonna start, didn't have a clue. A few months later, I was in the library, I read about being a virtual assistant. Just months later, I niched down to real estate. And within a few years, what I used to make a year in my job, I started making in a month. Somebody say, God's math. Okay? But what you have to understand that everything leading up to me filing bankruptcy, the support was, I was always a producer of money. From the time I was 16 years old, I always produced money. I always executed at a high level, and I always made money. That was my support. I never fell below that. But my resistance is I didn't know how to manage money. So I never could make enough, and I never could get it. I always was living check to check, and I always had to rob Peter to pay Paul. And so that was my resistance level. And just like you are, I'll be praying for my breakthrough. I'd be praying for my breakthrough, for me to stop my own habits. Now, what kind of sense does that make? What does me stopping my own habits have to do with heaven? And it was that revelation when I looked at that empty room that I realized that my job controlled my salary, but I control my income that gave change for me. And so what I want you to understand is that was my support and then that was my resistance. The minute that I had the revelation that I wanted to start a business, I immediately said, I'm going to make sure I read a book a month. I'm going to take 2 hours a day to apply what I read. I'm going to consume myself in mentorships and classes and communities. And I said, the reason why I have to do this is because I have to become somebody else. Because the person that I was before is the person that got me into this in the first place. So I had to become somebody else. And because I had consistent habitual changes, I broke my resistance level. And I have not looked back. Me and Words got the 9 to 5 escape plan. We tell them all the time, the last thing you want to do is escape and get recaptured. You don't want to leave that 9 to 5 and have to go back. And what I did is I now created a new support level. Now I'm an entrepreneur. And then in that first few years, I wanted to make what I made in a year and a month. And that took me a few years because I had a new resistance level. But I stayed in my personal development and I stayed with coaches. And I would tell a coach, I think I know everything, but for about 60 minutes, I'm going to shut my mouth and I'm going to listen to everything you tell me. And whatever you tell me, I'm going to do because I want to be like a sniper. Somebody say sniper. I don't have time to be shooting all day. My family is dependent on me. I'm live in my testimony and my redemption story, and I don't want this chapter to look like the first chapter. Every single chapter after my life is going to look better and better and better and better and better. And the only way to do that is whether you shut your mouth and open up your ears and listen to somebody smarter than you. And so that's what I did. And guess what? We broke the resistance level. And so what was a ceiling for me was now a floor. All right, so here's the definition of support and resistance. So support, a thing that bears the weight of something or keeps it upright. You can't fall below it. Resistance, the attempt to prevent something by action or argument. Even if you don't say it, there's something you're innately doing that is hitting your resistance. It's something you're refusing to do. You're in full defiance of the solution to your problem. And that is the reason why you are in the same range of motion and not able to break resistance. Repeat after me. I will break all ceilings on my life this year. As you come into agreement with it and you put the actions with it, it will come to pass. Even if you don't really believe everything and you're telling it to yourself, you're like, I don't know, it's been the same amount of time that I've been doing the same amount of things, and I feel like I'm just going to continue to run into circles. But say it with me, and if you just believed it, why don't you do this? Why don't we activate God's math? Turn to your neighbor, because 2 is what? Better than 1. Say, I will break all ceilings on my life this year. You will enter 2025 the same. One more time for the Holy Ghost. I will break all ceilings on my life this year. What you have to understand about this is this applies to you. It applies to Rochelle in the back. It applies to Worth Taylor. It applies to Marquise Gold. No matter how much money he makes, there is a ceiling he has not gotten above. But Marquise, Mark, you say it with him. I will break all ceilings on my life this year. Y'all better stop playing with it and come into agreement. All ceilings will be broken.